So hey students, welcome to NCERT Solutions by Vedantu. On this channel, we find solution to all the problems which is given in your NCERT. This is Baswaraj, I'm your biology master teacher. Now let's see the question here. The question from the chapter Biomolecules. The question number 9.9. Let's read the question now. Find out the qualitative. They're asking us to find qualitative. Please students remember the difference between qualitative and quantitative. Now they're asking us qualitative test, right? Qualitative test. So qualitative test merely shows if the particular substance has proteins or does it have fats or does it have amino acids. It does not show what amount of protein is there. The amount of protein comes under quantitative. Right now we are doing simple basic qualitative test, right? Simple basic qualitative test for proteins, fats as well as oils, amino acids, and test any fruit juices, saliva, sweat and urine on them. So we're supposed to find the presence of, right? We just find the presence of proteins, urine, fats, oils and amino acids in fruit juices, saliva, sweat and urine. Now let's start with the first one, that is protein, right? Test for proteins. Now there's a one standard test for proteins, that is the biuret test. There are many other tests, but we'll be sticking with on the most standard test, that is your biuret test, right? Biuret test. Biuret test. So what exactly do we do in biuret test? Let me write down that first, and then we will be explaining if the particular compound of the particular substance does it have protein or not. So in biuret test, we take biuret reagent plus the protein, right? Plus the protein. If there is protein in the substance, if the presence of protein is there, the protein will react, right? The protein will react with the biuret reagent to produce a very peculiar from light blue color. Initially it's going to be light blue color, converting it to purple color. So if there is protein present in the substance, the solution will turn from light blue to purple. If it is purple color in the end, it means the protein is present in the particular substance. Now let's take the substance here. First is the fruit juices. So all these experiments you're supposed to do it at home. Since we have already done it from our side, I'll be telling you the answer. So we know the fruit juices. We know fruits are rich in proteins. They're very good for health, right? Fruits are rich in proteins, vitamins, minerals. So fruit juices will have your protein. What about saliva? What about saliva? Doesn't saliva digest in the body with the help of salivary amylase? Absolutely not. Please remember, in the mouth we have saliva. Saliva has a particular enzyme called as salivary amylase, and this salivary amylase only and only breaks down the carbohydrates and not the proteins. So will the protein be present in the saliva? Yes sir, protein will be present in the saliva. What about sweat? The human sweat, any sweat. In the sweat we only have water and mostly minerals and salts. So proteins are generally absent in the case of sweat. What about urine? The urine will have, right, most of the amino acids, most of the unused amino acids are removed to the body in the form of urine, which also has proteins in it. So protein will be present in the urine. That's for the first one. We're done with the protein test. Now let's look at the test for your fat or lipids. The simple test, the most simple test which we have been doing from class 6, 7th and 8th. The test is very simple. That is a grease test, right? It is a grease test, simple test. It's a grease test. So what do we do in grease test? We take a piece of paper, right? We take a piece of paper. It's a brown paper usually. So brown paper, we can easily see the result. We take a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper you add your substance and you just close it and keep it aside. If there is oil, and if there is oil or fat present in it, the brown paper will have a translucent spot. A translucent spot will be present on the grease paper there. So that's the second test. That's for the fats or the different types of lipids. Now let's look at the different compounds here, different substances which we have. So for example, first we have fruit juices, right? We have fruit juices. Does fruit juice have, if you take a drop of fruit juice and we add it onto a particular paper, so does the fruit juice have oils and fats? Absolutely not. The fruit juices will not have your fats. Now what about the saliva? Does the saliva has fats? Saliva also does not have fats. Saliva does not have any fats in it. And what about the sweat? The human sweat. The sweat can contain the fats sometimes. Now this urine is very controversial. Why? Because sometimes the urine can have a little bit of fats, but 90% times again the urine might not have fats. So let me tell you, it is a very controversial thing. It might have or might not have. Let's look at the last one. The last one is your amino acids. Amino acids are a very standard, very standard practice. That is your ninhydrin test, right? Very standard ninhydrin test. So what happens in ninhydrin? In ninhydrin test, we take ninhydrin agent, ninhydrin reagent, plus we boil it in the presence of for 5 minutes in the presence of your substance. In the presence of your substance. If the particular substance has amino acid, there will be a color change. From what? Colorless, from colorless to either it can change into pink or blue or purple. Any of the following colors, because that can mainly depend on the type of amino acid. So there is a variable spectrum of color here. Now let's look at the different substance which we have. What about the fruits? Yes, I told you fruits are rich in protein. The fruits are rich in protein, and hence the fruit juice will also have amino acids. What about saliva? Yes, the saliva also has the amino acids. What about sweat? I mentioned earlier the sweat is mainly composed of your water as well as salt. So your sweat also does not contain any type of amino acid. What about urine? Urine will also have amino acid. There is unwanted amino acids, non-essential amino acids are removed out of the body through the urine formation. That's the question for this particular. That's the answer for this particular question. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.